When Jalen Green was drafted into the NBA, I thought that Jalen Green would be the only reason that I'd be watching Houston Rockets basketball in the next upcoming years unless they were to draft some superb basketball player. Until Alperen Şengün. I've been watching this guy. I'm a Warriors fan, and I've seen him play against my team. I've seen the highlights, and I've just seen the buzz around him. I've watched full games of him, and he's made me kind of study the Houston Rockets just a little bit more than I usually do, as they are a good team in the West right now. And I've been watching his play over the last few games. I've noticed that he has a lot of similarities to a guy like Nikola Jokic. And you might be wondering why I say that, but we're going to go there. And I'm probably going to title this video something like why Alperen Şengün is the next Nikola Jokic. So let me say first of all that I do not believe Alperen Şengün and Nikola Jokic are the same player, but they have similarities. And it might be because they're both international players, because I'm noticing this trend with all international players in the NBA that they all have this same type of play style where they are just patient. I don't want to call them slow. I know in a video of past, and you might want to go check it out if you really like Luka Doncic, I made a video about Luka and why I believe he's the MVP for this season. And in that video about Luka Doncic, I said that he was slow and he was a slug. As I'm looking at guys that are international like Alperen Şengün, they all have a patience to their game. They're all slow. They all take their time. And Alperen has that skill. And away from that, he also has a mid-range shot, and having a mid-range shot is the trademark to NBA basketball. People don't talk about it much, but the person who can shoot the mid-range is the person who's going to end up being a superstar. Why do I say that? Well, all superstars have a mid-range shot. It is the break in NBA basketball. The two main prolific ways to score the basketball in the NBA today, there's actually a third now, and it's kind of, sprouting up. It's called free throws. Other than that, there's the layup, the paint, dunking just around the rim finishes, and then you have the three-point shot. The three-point shot is 3 points. All teams shoot a bunch of threes, but to be able to break the paint and break the three-point line by stopping for a mid-range shot, especially for a center who can get the ball in the mid-range and then just go up, it is a trademark to a great basketball player to be. Alperen Şengün has that ability, and he's a really good three-point shooter. He has this mid-range shooter, but he's also working on his three. He's doing a little bit better over the last 10 games. He's working on it. He's at 31.3% from three. It'll go up as he goes on in his career, and I think he's going to get to a point where he can be, almost 40% three-point shooting, and if he is, that's going to really, really stretch the case that I think that one day he might be a top 5 player in the NBA. But at the end of the day, this guy has a really great mid-range shot, and that's a trademark of a great basketball player. Alperen also has this amazing ability to get to the paint. He's agile. People talk about, he's a great passer. He has great IQ. The ball can just go to him and he makes a play and this and that. But what's kind of sneaky with him, and you don't see often with really patient players like him, is the fact that he can get downhill. He's one of the best dunkers in the NBA right now. I might play some clips. He can dunk, and when he gets down there and he's dunking, it's actually ridiculous. Alperen Şengün is no scrub in the paint, and he can take the ball and he goes really quick. I don't like comparing him to, Luka when I watch him, because Luka is a slower player, even though Luka is slow when he wants to be. When you look at guys like Alperen Şengün, he has this quickness when he wants to be. It's a little bit different. He's patient, but then he can go like really fast, really quickly, and get really downhill. And he has this amazing footwork as well. Even on the mid-range with those one-legged shots, he just has great footwork. Once you get Alperen the ball, his footwork is just impeccable. Like, he can just get down there and do some of the things that Nikola does, and it's really amazing to see, because when you have a player that knows the game and not just knows how to play the game, like, there's a lot of amazing players that are really talented, like Cam Thomas. Like, Cam Thomas is a very talented NBA basketball player, but being talented and then having the ability to understand the game of basketball are two separate things. And I'm not too familiar with the international space of basketball, but I would wonder if most of these players have courses on basketball. Like, do you go to college in Turkey? I know he's from Turkey. Like, do they go to college in Turkey and study the game of basketball? Because he just knows the ins and out of how to play. He knows how to make the right read. He knows how to make these extravagant, crazy passes. And right now, Alperen's averaging 5 assists per game, but he also knows how to make the simple ones. He knows how to pass the ball to the guy that's sitting right there and needs a shot. And he knows that he can draw attention, and he knows he can do these things. And he's in his third year. He's 21 years old, and he has so many layers to his game. If he can stretch himself out to the three-point line, if he can get to a point where he's shooting, say, 37, 38% from three, this guy is going to be ridiculous because he can get downhill. He can have the ball in his hands. He can dribble. He can, he works really well with Fred VanVleet as well at times, at least from what I've seen. I'm not going to act like I've watched 10 Rockets games this season, but what I've seen is that him and Fred VanVleet actually work together really well. I could be wrong, but from what I've seen so far, they do work really well. And with the ability to be able to work with the point guard as a center who has the ball and demands the ball, and actually so far he only has a 27% usage rate. Imagine when that goes up. Imagine when everything's going through this guy and he gets promoted to their main playmaker. That's going to be extravagant for Alperen. He can play make, and I've seen it. We've seen flashes of it. A guy that averages 5 assists as a center and is 30 in the NBA, I'm pretty sure can average 9 like Jokic. I think it's just all about opportunity, all about the players you're playing with and around, but I'm sure he can do it. Once he gets to a point where he can shoot the ball, where he's just comfortable with his game, and he he already has signature moves, but once he has signature combos, and once he figures out what people can't guard when it comes to him, he knows the moves that will get people, but once he figures out what he can do on a nightly basis that people just can't mess with, he's gonna elevate himself to the next level. And I believe he has the potential to be better than a guy like Jokic. Why do I say that? Because Jokic does not have the athleticism that a guy like Alperen has. Jokic is almost like Jokic is a fisher in the paint. He just goes, he'll back you down, then he'll just pass it. He's like a fishing rod. He's like bait, and he just goes down deeper into the water, then he just kicks it out. I really don't know how to describe Jokic's game that well, because Jokic is just different. There's not a player that I can compare Jokic to, because Jokic is one of one. But I can compare Alperen to Jokic a little bit, but I know for facts that Alperen has more athleticism and more finishing abilities, when it comes to athleticism. Now, Jokic can finish. I'm not saying that he can't, but I'm saying that Alperen can, get up. He can dunk. He'll dunk on you. He has, the ability to go downhill at very quick rates. He's a lot lighter on his feet. He weighs less than Jokic. He's 6'11", 240. And I would say that Alperen has the ability to reach where Jokic is. He, does some of the things that Jokic does, but he does things that Jokic also can't do, get up, and I think once he's given the correct opportunity, this Alperen Şengün guy could be the best player in our basketball league, because he has the ability to go downhill. He has the ability to shoot that mid-range. He has the ability to hit that post-hook shot. He can break the paint in many different ways. He can shoot the three. He can play make, and he averages 9.3 rebounds a game. He's averaging 21 points his third year. I'm telling you, don't sleep on Alperen Şengün, because they slept on Jokic till they got great, and Jokic already has 2 MVPs and a Finals MVP, a champion, and guess what? Nikola Jokic is still slept on. But I think this guy might meet the standard a little bit more. See, Alperen, he can do a little bit of the high flying that the NBA likes to market. So maybe, just maybe, Alperen might end up being that guy that gets the media love and attention, for being a slow player, slow placed, and, just taking your time and playing the game a little bit different than the average person. But, high IQ gets rewarded. TJ McConnell, high IQ. Chris Paul, high IQ. Luka, high IQ. All the great players in the league. Jokic, obviously. All the great players, great players in the league have high IQ. Steph Curry doesn't average, 10 assists per game, but he has a really high IQ. You have Tyrese Halliburton, high IQ. Once you have a center who can average 5 assists with high IQ, and he's not their main playmaker, it's Fred VanVleet. Once he gets to a point where he's doing the things that he can do at a high level every night, watch out for Alperen.